This is Morten from English. I have the pleasure to talk to my good friend Chris Schowalter, who recently, actually, when you see this, he has been working a few days with DURST already. But it was a big surprise to me when he a few weeks ago announced on LinkedIn that he was leaving Fiery. He's been there for 13 years. In my opinion, instrumental to the development of Fiery as a platform into other segments that just, because every time I met him, it's like, now we do textile, now we do large form, now we do something else. And now he is on the software side with Durst. So, Chris, welcome here on English.
Oh, thank you, Morten, for having me. This is my first official call, so to speak. So it's quite nice. Thank you.
We always try to be at least relatively first with the news when it comes to something as important as this. And I guess for you, it must be tremendously important and something that you have considered for a long time before you just decided to change career, right?
Oh, it's huge. It's a big personal impact if you think about it. I mean, I've been with my last company for 13 years, which is a long time. I mean, it's pretty much the lifespan of my oldest daughter, right? So she's been in it with me, I guess, so to speak. So it's a big change, because you're giving up relationship, you're giving up product knowledge, etc., and you're making this move, and you're kind of jumping in the cold water. So it's something I didn't take easy in any sort of way. And so I was in contact with Durst actually for a couple of years, kind of on and off. And we finally connected, and we found a match that really made it worthwhile, so to speak, to do such a quote a risky. I hope the risk is not too high, to be honest, but it is a big change in a personal life and in a career path.
I can't help think about, because I mean, the way I think I know you is a very thorough man, and therefore, I mean, as you say, you don't take decision or make decisions lightly. But I mean, I guess that is also part of your success in what you do for businesses, that you do things with good considerations and all that. Do you think that describes you as a person?
I would hope so, or at least it's something nice to put on my on my CV. Thank you very much for saying that. I think, end of the day, by heart, I'm a technician, right? I mean, I kind of grew up in the support team. I was always the color nerd, and kind of got quotes stuck in the role of sales or channel development, etc. So I like to know the products well that I'm representing, and I like to do it quote as a product manager, so to speak. So I'm focused on building structure and systems. So I'm building a channel, building the structure behind it, how to manage them, how to work with them, and I think that's very important to me, and therefore hopefully that reflects in what I'm doing at work as well.
One thing I can't help think about is that Durst is, of course, a very well-known company in the industry. It's a company that you see at literally all trade shows, and amazing booths, amazing products. But you're not working on the hardware side. I think that most people know Durst from the hardware side. So tell me a little bit, what is it that you can bring to the table, and what is it that Durst can bring to the table for potential customers?
Yeah, I think actually as part of the interview process, we talked about that quite a bit as well, right? I mean, obviously, I come from a background where we were in printer manufacturer that also had software. It really was the other way around, but at least it was a perception in the industry. And the Durst team was joking, or actually they got some feedback from the industry. It might have actually been you, right? That the most hidden secret in the industry is that Durst is actually making software, right?
Quite
But
nice
I think
software, I
the
would
key
say.
is, and that's exactly it, right? The key is it has not been done as an afterthought. It has been done as a very strategic and very much focused, both from a resource investment, technology standpoint, and really making this an holistic and real value add product. So watching this from the outside, it's been quite impressive as a hardware manufacturer. how wholeheartedly they're living software and how they're building the products. And as a matter of fact, there's some benefit of building it from scratch, right? I mean, there's a combination depending on what product you look at. One has actually been built from a customer themselves, right? What better way to build a product than having, the customer build it? It's really doing what a display graphic person wants it to do. And the other ones are built from scratch, greenfield, so to speak, and therefore you can build it with a little bit more modern architecture. How do I match into this, or what can I bring into this? I want to think that, I have some, technology background, of course, specifically around color, a little bit about workflow, channels, etc. And I've lived it before, right? So I know the priority difference between hardware and software, and how can you make or use software as an value-add enabler to help the hardware team. But on the other hand, also, I kind of see it as I'm like not a sports fan at all, or at least I don't watch it on TV. But if you look at the Formula One, right, there's this notion of you're building this Formula One car in an race competitive environment. You put in the newest technology, etc. And then you take this technology and then you try to put that into quote commercial product and bring it to market. And I see this quite similar. So DURST has been extremely successful in building the software for their super high-end DURST environment. And now part of my job is going to be, obviously to support DURST hardware team, but also to take this, Formula One technology and really make it available for the full market and have everyone benefit from it.
I can't help think about, because one of the things I like a lot about DURST is that when I go to Brixen and talk to the people there, not only do I think they have a very startup mentality to the company, though it is a very old company today, but also the fact that they have this incubation cube for like spinning off new businesses and new ideas. I take that it always pushes also, let's say, people working for DURST into always think about, okay, it's okay to think new, right? And I take that with your mindset and going to market, it must always be nice to know that, okay, you have a company that is also willing to invest in, let's say, more riskier part of their business in case they see a purpose. I mean, you have the AI, I can't remember the name right now, but you have the AI for it, you have the hardware, but you have the software, and in the software side, you have MIS, you have web to print, you have workflow. And I think that also when it looks to the view, the design of the software, it looks really modern and it looks really intuitive in how you use the software. And I think all those things makes a perfect package. So even though you go to the market as a software sales guy or whatever your actual role would be, you have you don't have to disguise yourself as being a hardware manufacturer selling software. You can basically, with proud saying that you have a core product that can be sold also to competitors, I guess, right? I mean, because it is not just DURST related, the software you're selling.
100%. I mean, if you go to Brixen, and I know you've been, I mean, first of all, it's a wonderful building, right? It's a wonderful building. It's a great environment, and they make a beautiful coffee. But it's nice, but that's not what matters. What matters is the team, how they operate, the focus on quality product, being nimble, as you mentioned, but also that customer focus. I mean, what blew me away is, first of all, a very young team, very agile, very proud, not arrogant, but proud about their products and how they manage their product, and a lot of appreciation on how they talk about their customers, right? Just, little things like, oh, we need to be so thankful if our customers are willing to come to the demo centers and give us their time, right? It's just a simple notion which you don't necessarily hear at other places. And I think DURST stands for an extremely high quality product. And I'm with you. There's no reason to hide. I think there's actually a lot of, rightfully so, pride that the software is powered by DURST.
Mm-hmm. But that is, I totally agree. And I will say that you talk about the building as a frame for DURST, which I agree with. But I also think that what I like about visiting Brixton, and I'm, by the way, going there in just a couple of weeks again, is the fact that when you see that, it's also they are not afraid of also building. You as a DURST is not afraid of. I wouldn't say show off because that sounds negative, but I would say that with gratitude towards the city and the community and to the people, that you can, okay, we built something that can also be an inspiration for us. I remember when I was at the top of the building and my colleagues were flying a drone, I was like, wow, this is, I know that the DURST people are very into the mountain culture and how important the mountains are part of the legacy, part of the history. And then they have built their own little mountain. And when you stand on top of that beautiful building, it feels, in a way, it feels very much aligned with the surroundings and how they have both feet on the ground, but at the same time they reach for the top to become the best. I remember I spoke to, I can't remember who right now, but so many great people there. But I remember that one of the sayings at DURST is that when we decide to go into new business areas, we never go for being number two. And I think that is also, it must also be a strong and good thing for you as a person, because I mean, you have signed up for a winner team, right? So I guess that both you will be measured, but you will also contribute to that winning mentality, right?
Yeah, the pressure is on. I will for sure be measured on it as well. But I mean, in all reality, just from a personal perspective, right? Why would someone, make a move like this? And one is for sure the sense of quality and being number one, right? Mm-hmm. I think it's immensely important, and therefore also being, as you mentioned, as nimble and also willing to invest in a certain segment, to make a good analysis. Okay, we want to enter a certain segment. Here are the different tools, technologies, functions that we need, and building a business plan over multiple years, and making it happen. Number two is personality, mindset, etc. And as you said, mountain focused or quality focused, etc. is for me personally a great cultural fit. I mean, I live 3 hours away from Brixton, which is rather nice, and that's probably point number 3 for me personally as well. Right, having an closer access to the headquarter, and therefore also for being strategically more long-term involved and really, together as a team shaping this.
I also, another thing I remember when I asked, because I think that us from the outside of South Tyrol, we sometimes wonder, is this Italy or Austria, right? And I remember, I think it was Christoph Gambo that said to me, we take the design, the beauty, and the food and the wine from Italy, and we take the engineering and the quality from Austria and Germany. And I think that is a wonderful way of saying it, because I mean, when you look at what DURST has created over the years, coming from being a camera manufacturer and doing something that is entirely different, and then in a few decades they have become like one of the leading things, and still maintain that. I think, as far as I remember, it's about 600-700 people employed there, but it's still, when you get there, people are so engaged in everything. But Chris, I have another question to you, because I mean, your role, you said to me before we started the recording that you were going to be a road warrior. What is it? I mean, I guess that doesn't say road warrior on your business card, right?
Actually, once I had a colleague that had that exactly on his business card. No, but my business card is going to say Director Global Sales for Software and Solutions. So I'm going to be responsible for the complete software portfolio of DURST, meaning MIS, Web to Print, Workflow, Cloud Analytics. globally, which clearly means there will be a decent amount of travel involved, for sure. Both, supporting the teams, as mentioned before, distributed from a development standpoint, but also from a sales perspective, supporting the hardware team, supporting the sales team, building a channel, building relationships, trade shows, etc. And that's the life that I'm used to live since multiple years. And I think we talked about it before. It's really only possible if you combine that with at least if you have family, combine that with an home office environment.
Of course.
But due to Brixton being in the same time zone, the connection will be very, very easy, and 3 hours is very much drivable. So when you're down there in a couple of weeks, who knows, I might show up.
Okay, that would be fun. Chris, another thing that I was wondering about is that even though that DURST is developing excellent software, it's not an island. There's a lot of competition, and there's fearful people that wants to take the market shares. What is the? I mean, I know that you have a deep insight in technology and also, as you say, a background from the technical side. But I mean, in a very competitive environment, what is the secret sauce to make sure that you succeed?
Yeah, there's a lot of competitors, but are there really, right? And I guess the way how I look at it is and that's the secret sauce, is the complete focus on the segment, right? So if we look at MIS, right? So there's a lot of really good MIS companies, and they try to serve a lot of different segments, and therefore they will fit better or not as good to certain segments. So it's a focus question, right? And Lift being an MIS system which was developed by a display graphic printer themselves, right? So it's 100% segment focused. So how many competitors are there that are really focused on this one particular segment and nothing else and really doing this well? Not that many, right? And similar for the workflow perspective. I come from a RIP environment. There's a million RIPs in the market. A lot of them are, getting gobbled up by other vendors. But DURST is not trying to build a RIP. It's a workflow, right? So it's significantly more. And while the other workflow players, again, so cross-segment, trying to do everything at once and doing it really, really well, right? But the DURST product, again, being crazy focused. So coming back to this Formula One car, right?
Yeah. So it's the focus, basically. So being focused on, and if you look at the DURST portfolio, they have textile, they have rigid, they have roll to roll, they have, they have so many technologies, but everything is still within a frame. And basically, that's what you say. So the software supporting customers, because it's customer-centric development that you do. That is the secret sauce, basically.
It's a focus within the frame, as you say. It's also the willingness to invest and develop to fit in the frame or the segment, right? Quote, not, wait until the customer threatens with an order and then go for developing the feature, but really analyzing it and investing upfront and making the product work for the segment. And the willingness to make some very smart decisions on, hey, this piece of value add is not available in the industry. I want to build this myself. Or saying, oh, listen, there is some technology partner which just is the best in the industry. Let's partner up. And, DURST has been very public about what technology partners they're using. So let's take the best out of breed and, make a combined product which has the user interface and focus of a segment that DURST understands, but using the technology elements out of the industry, which is best in class.
I like that approach, and I think that DURST has, you live it with Koenig and Bauer on the Varijet, you live it with Omet on some hybrid technology, and you basically are not afraid of collaborating with other companies and other people, which I think is a fantastic thing. One of the things that is, of course, always important, and I'm digging a little bit into some technology things, because my background in printing industry is from the commercial side, and I think that one of the things from the commercial side, and I think you and I have been talking about that during over the years, is the fact that the automation journey integration through APIs, lights out production, all those kind of things. Is that also something where you see that DURST is having the right focus on those kind of, let's say, terms and measures?
Isn't it amazing that we're still not there? I mean, as you mentioned, we talk about it since years, right? And in the offset litho environment, I mean, you can't survive without full automation, right? And in display graphics, label, etc., we are still just scratching on the surface. Yeah, I mean, my experience in the past couple of years, where I looked into automation, is that people are scared of doing it. They're overwhelmed by what this would mean, right? Both from a financial investment, but also from a manpower investment. Because if you look at the big players, I mean, basically you have to hire a dedicated person and a good person to make some real fully automated workflow happen.
Maybe more than one, actually, right?
Yeah. Potentially, exactly. And therefore, I think from what I have seen so far, the DURST approach to, again, within segment, very much focused, providing the customer exactly that piece that they need. It's a significantly more handleable approach. And I think there's a lot of opportunities for customers to simply start automating without having to, go full light out, but start. And then obviously on the hardware side, we're seeing a lot of push into hardware automation. The automatic loader, unloader, the automated arms, et cetera. So we are forefront right there to work on that integration as well, because we have to, right? So therefore we can make this happen.
Yeah, but I think that I agree with you, and I think that may be one of the biggest challenges when it comes to the automation part, and maybe when we talk integration to anything through APIs and webhooks and JSON objects and all these kind of things, and to robots and to everything like that, is that who will be the first one that actually takes the let's say the major steps towards this direction? Because if it doesn't come from demand from customers, it's a question about when in a process would you actually start looking into it. And as I understand from you, it seems that DURST is already and I think they do that also on the hardware side, is that they're looking, I spoke to I cannot remember, super nice guy, the guy that is responsible for the P5 platform. You may not know him as you are new, but I can't remember his name right now. Andrea, yeah. And basically,
product manager,
precisely. What he said to me was like, one thing is that you look at customer demand. Another thing is, as a major vendor, you also need to look at what the customers don't expect right now, because at some point they might get there. And I think that is maybe even more true when we talk about software, right? Because how should an owner of a printing company know what kind of technology he will need to invest in within the next 10 years, right?
You can't, right? I mean, I was used to manage a product management team, and you always have the same conversation, right? You have sales, customer, etc., come in with like, "Oh, we want this feature." Like, it's really interesting, but I want to hear what you're doing. Like, no, you don't understand. I know what I want. I'm like, yeah, but you don't know yet what you need, right? And that's just this ongoing conversation about, I mean, all those things, right? I mean, back in the day when the iPhone launched, I mean, we all thought we want a bigger keyboard than the BlackBerry, and Apple said, no, you really don't.
And we are still looking for it, right, Chris?
Exactly. So, especially in software, there's a lot of analytics required on understanding how the customer works today, and knowing with the tool set that we have or might not have yet, but know we can build, how can we shape this for the product in 5 years, right? I think that's very important. And again, kind of looking inwards of what I hear, what I think, what DURST is doing, or we all have seen, this investment into this software portfolio, right, is an investment in the future. They're building something that, is already valid today, but is even more valid in 4 to 5 years.
I buy that 100%, and I think that with the team, I mean, I met Michael de Florian when I was at the Varijet launch event in Dresden, Radebeul, and whenever we come to a show, also at the, let's say, the public trade shows, and you see the technology that is revealed, you start to get an understanding of the scope of DURST, right? And I think that it's not because I want to talk anything bad about any companies and not EFI at all, but when I remember one of the first times I attended a trade show, I saw EFI with all these computers that were just standing next to each other, and then you could come and see different software things. And the biggest news were typically there was a new acquisition taking place, and now there was a new software as part of the EFI portfolio. But for me, there was a long time before I understood that there was an integration process between these different softwares that could actually make that kind of ecosystem. And it seems that the way that DURST is doing it is, as you said, if you develop the software from scratch, understanding the customer needs in details, you will never get into a situation where you have lines of computers and have separate product presentations, because they will always have some kind of integration, let's say, to each other. Do you understand what I mean?
Understand it 100%. And I was always joking with customers at a trade show, right? If a vendor tells you their integration works without problem, you're probably not talking to the most honest person. Integration is an enormously complex process. To get pieces to talk to each other is fairly simple, but to make them talk accurately, right? Is a print two-sided? Is it not two-sided? Is a print that cancels after 30%? Is it really a print? Is it no print? Do I still need to count my ink usage or not? What about purging events, et cetera, et cetera? So integration is just enormously complex. So try to build that with existing systems, which are based on completely different structures, API, thinking differently about what is a media, what is a job, et cetera, is, I don't want to say mission impossible, but it's a really long and rocky road. And as you say, if you build this a little bit more from scratch and having this ecosystem kind of front vision strategic, it becomes, still a challenge, but it becomes a more manageable thing to do to make these pieces talk together.
Last few questions, Chris. I know it's you are in California. Oakland, you said?
Yep, California, Oakland. So California, I still have time. We can go on for hours.
You have to go and work as well, and I need to do something else as well. I have a print magazine that goes to print today, so that's why I'm a little bit busy. So it's always good to have a physical printed product going to work, right? Well, if you were going to point, it doesn't have to be anybody from this industry, but just of curiosity, do you have any, let's say, idols or icons or something that you think that, okay, that is an inspiration for you?
Oh man, I know you would do this to me. So it's a very personal question, and I appreciate that. I never had that real, also growing up, not really watching or following sports, etc. I never had this real hero kind of thing.
Not even Superman.
Born and raised in Germany. But there's a bunch of really mentors, and I was very lucky, in my past, people that I reported to and that I was able to learn from. Gail Schaefer, Paul Williams, John Hensey, etc. A lot of people that you know that have been, fundamental to my. I always love it when people say their career. Who knows if this is a career or not? But to my path and to me, it's an experience of learning. And I know you wanted a personal answer. I actually follow Rich Roll podcast. I think he's inspirational. And former alcoholic lawyer turning plant-based ultra triathlon searching for enlightenment kind of person. So. It's completely off topic, non-industry, but it helps me to get my head away from the industry kind of things and think about sport and being a better person, I guess.
The reason I'm asking is obviously because I think it's a funny question, but I'm also asking because I think it tells a lot about people whether they are lonely riders or they actually appreciate, learn from others, right? And I think that both can be good, but I'm just asking you because I think that when I meet you at trade shows, I think you're very social and you're very engaged with customers. You're a very friendly person, first of all. But I mean, so those kind of social skills are also often based on let's say, the fact that you are open-minded towards inspiration.
It's the only way to do this job, really. If you think about it, as a quote road warrior, I always get a kick out of when I meet people, at the hotel bar and that kind of stuff, and they're complaining about whatever country we're in and whatever isn't there to specs compared to home and that kind of stuff. And how can you be that toxic in an environment like this, right? Every place, every person, every company has something extremely interesting and positive. And if you focus on that and the learning that's in there, obviously makes you as a person happier, makes you learn more, makes you hopefully a more interesting conversation partner as well. So I'm certainly guilty as charged of not always being able to do that, but I'm trying. It's a road.
Fantastic. Warm congratulations on your new position. I am 1,000% certain that you will be successful, and I'm 1,000% also that it will be a beneficial match for both you and DURST. So I hope to see you soon in person, and all the best.
Same to you. I will see you soon.
Definitely. Bye-bye.